Cloud. All right. Yay, here we are. So I'm Jessica Shepard. I am here with my dear friend Jenny, and we've come together. We're combining some efforts and collaborating on various fronts, and I'm super excited to be here with her and to be here sharing some good information. I'm a holistic health coach and body worker for over 23 years. So I've been in the wellness world and in all of its ways for a long time, but also with my own health challenges and crisis and healing and tons of growth and lots of wonderful people I've been able to work with along the way. And so we have a lot that we share, Jenny and I. And one thing that this will relate to some things she's going to talk about as well is that I believe that things work in synergy, in whether it's in the environment and with plants, with people, with everything. It's all connected in some way, and that things work synergistically. So it's a core principle of mine in the work that I do, and that it works. We are unique individuals, and we have tremendous gifts to offer, but we have even more that we can offer when we work in collaboration. And so that applies to some of the products that Jenny will be sharing with you about. One in particular today that we're going to cover. And so I'm just excited to be able to play around with that and share what we have with everyone, so that you can leave this video with learning some things, and also perhaps trying some new things, and realizing that some of the simple tools that you have available can actually apply to lots of things in your life, have multiple uses. And so, yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Jenny, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. And
Yeah.
definitely, I think that combining forces with all of our knowledge from nutrition to, and my company is Jenny's Baked at Home. And 5 years ago, I had left the furniture world of designing green and sustainable and organic furniture and bedding. So I had done a lot of research in identifying what made something have a green footprint, or what was good for us to inhale, or what was good for the environment for decomposing purposes and all of that kind of stuff. But I don't think that I really delve in at your level of nutrition until I got cancer 5 years ago. And I opted out of radiation and chemotherapy and tamoxifen, which is a hormone replacement therapy drug. And I did have a double mastectomy, so I surgically removed the cancer. And I was never able for years to use opiates or any sort of pain medication. It always made me super sick to the point of vomiting terribly after having my wisdom teeth removed and put on, Percocets or whatever it was. That worked for somebody, but not for me. So I thought, well, I need an alternative. I have 3 children, and I didn't do epidurals because I was scared about the side effects that I would have from that medication. So I looked into, for the first time in 20 years, had I looked into trying THC, and as an alternative to pain management. And then what I discovered was there was so many healing properties in the plant itself. And it wasn't just for pain management, it was for rebuilding tissue and working with the endocannabinoid system to retune our bodies and refocus. So I started that in the beginning. I came up with
that system that's already intrinsically in each one of us, right?
Right. We all have an endocannabinoid system, which is, I think, kind of the way I describe it is, it's almost like a catcher's mitt and a baseball. So you've got CBD or THC or the cannabinoids. There's 110 plus cannabinoids found in the cannabis plant, and the ones we know the most are THC, which is the intoxicating part, and CBD is the non-intoxicating part, and CBD hits the receptors in your body, the CB1, CB2 receptors, and THC hits the receptors in your brain, and they all function differently and tell your body to do different things. So when I was thinking about THC for pain management, I was to work with the receptors in my brain. But after my procedures, I started looking more. And at the time, a lot of studies were coming out of Israel because we had been illegal for 100 years and no research done in the United States
Oh, right.
on the plant. So everything was sort of grassroots and, definitely on the DL, with people trying to use it as a form of kind of a medication replacement in their life. So whether that be for antidepressants or for melanoma, people were doing it behind the scenes for years and years and years. But in Israel, they actually started doing studies. And so a lot of the studies.
Do you know where the studies were? Like my family has worked in some of the scientific leagues in Israel, actually, and I wonder if because there's one area called Technion where they do a lot of medical studies. And do you know where in Israel, or do you? I'm just curious.
I didn't know the studies weren't coming out of any place specifically. They were being done, as medical journals.
I see. I see. Okay.
Yeah. So, but the journals I was starting to read were the high CBD diet discouraged cancer cells from adhering to mass.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought,
this while you had cancer, right? Just like when I had, or is it after? While
it was after. So I had the cancer removed,
mm-hmm.
but they asked me to go on a drug called tamoxifen, and that had enormous amount of side effects when I started really researching the drug itself. And one of the, third or fourth tier side effects was cancer. It definitely would put me into menopause early, which I thought, why would I want to increase the growth of my body internally if I don't have to? So I started to look at nutrition as an alternative to pharmaceuticals.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this healing plant, but I also knew that I needed to combine it with food.
Right.
Right food for absorbing. And so
synergy, like I was saying in the beginning, right?
Right. So just taking this plant and putting it into our bodies wasn't enough for me to say, listen, I'm doing, I'm not going to smoke a joint or just go and steep it. I need to understand if I combine avocado or if I combine coconut or if I combine ginger, what are the effects that it's going to have on my body? Like, what does ginger do? Ginger is an antioxidant, and it encourages cell growth, and it's great for digestive purposes. Why? Because it helps align all of the right molecular level of your body to get everything in alignment so that it can do its job. So
ginger's also been found to be anti-cancer over long term if you take it on a continuum, but it needs to be also in synergy with other things. But that it's one of my top favorites. I would say top 5 favorites of all.
Awesome. Yeah. So
go on.
Likewise. So so then I said, okay, well, there's not enough CBD products that are food focused out there. It's either a capsule or it's a tincture or it's a vape. And so I wanted to go back to how I thought it was used 1,000 years ago. If it grew on the side of the road, it grew next to rosemary. And maybe seasonally, we were supposed to combine the THC, CBD, all the cannabinoids with the rosemary. And that's what would work for ourselves in that season to be able to prevent disease and creates. And the biggest part of CBD is that it's an anti-inflammatory. So it helps circulate the body. And I'm a huge advocate for getting oxygen to parts of our body to heal parts of our body. And I think that food, the right food and the right combinations that we've done together get people's blood pumping to where it needs to go, where it hasn't gone before or hasn't gone in years. So, but you have to combine all of that. So you need all of this whole plant philosophy in order to create it. It's not just one antioxidant or one herb plant or it's the combination of everything. So I'm on that journey right now, and you and I got together, and to me, it's a body made in heaven who can can reap the benefits of what we have to offer them, because we're really thinking about everything out there.
And how to bring these different components together to serve all the best parts of them, to serve the greater whole, but from different mixtures of things. And well, continue on. I was going to ask you a question, but was there something I didn't want to?
No. So yeah, so I started a line of baking products, not baking products, but products that you could cook with. So
Right.
gluten and things definitely had a health and wellness approach to it. So if it was a brownie, it was gluten-free, high protein, cacao chocolate. So just again, like how you and I work together, if I'm going to combine hemp protein, do I need to make sure that it's gluten-free so that it absorbs better?
Right.
You know, that it doesn't get blocked in the chain of absorption.
Right.
So
this is also working with CBD, not with THC right now. You're talking just CBD, which a lot of people don't really even understand what CBD actually is. So you'll have to come back to that. But you're saying created these products with adding CBD into them.
CBD infused into coconut oil, olive oil, baking mix. If it was a topical, it would have a food component to it. So it'd be a functional medicine, avocado, vitamin E, or basil, or different almonds are great for the skin. So I'll add different extractions in with the CBD as a vehicle to be able for absorption, better absorption.
Yeah.
So all my products are CBD based, and they're full spectrum, which means I use the whole plant. That means I use the flower, aka the bud, but it's low levels of THC. It's a number, kind of an arbitrary number, but it's 0.03% THC.
Just practically like indetectable. Like it's just there as a side note, but you wouldn't even feel it. It's just like a trace.
Exactly, but you get to use the whole plant. So I like to use all the cannabinoids that we can, and into their whole plant medicine sort of idea. So that kind of takes me up to where I am now, and I work with customers that are have sleep issues, anxiety issues, circulation issues, which circulation issues have a lot to do with chronic pain. Yeah. Because if you're inflamed all the time, whether that's your back or your knees or your ankles, you're going to constantly be in pain. And if I can open up and circulate, I call it the lazy man's yoga.
I was going to say it's because something's blocked, and what you're doing is adding something in that's going to open up an area because there's blockage, and that's usually where dysfunction comes in the body anyway, because there's blockage of some mental, spiritual, emotional, physical component. There's blockage. So you're bringing the delivery system to unblock, and actually not just unblock the area that's having trouble, but the whole system, because it's circulating through your whole body.
Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So when I think we were talking that I don't know if I finished it, but the catcher's mitt and the baseball, consider the baseball CBD, which is also cannabidiol, but the CBD comes into the body. The catcher's mitt grabs the CBD, holds it, and uses it as it needs to use it throughout the body.
Kind of knows what to do with it naturally. It's like when you say use it, it's like, I know what to do with you. I'm going to use this much of you to do these jobs.
Right, exactly. I'm going to open up circulation in that knee area. I'm going to help a digestive issue. I'm going to help with mood regulation. I'm going to help with all of these things. Whereas a pharmaceutical drug comes in, and here's the receptor, and it comes in, and it paralyzes the receptor and does its job around.
When you say pharmaceutical drug, you mean something like,
Oxycontin,
right,
or antidepressant.
Right.
It doesn't work in synergy with the receptors. Now, some people really need that, and that's important because those receptors are way out of whack and out of control.
Absolutely.
But if you can try to work with your body naturally and let the body do its job without paralyzing parts of it to do it, you don't come off of it with a crash and burn, and you come off with it, the body constantly trying to retune. So that's what I was looking at as a way to bring in cannabis into my body, to retune my body, to reset my body. Maybe we were depleted. I also kind of give the analogy sometimes of being in a cannabinoid system. Perhaps it's like melatonin. Maybe over a period of time, we sort of lessen the well of the melatonin in our body, and we need to bring it back up a little bit. So cannabis is very much like that. It's been used for thousands and thousands of years. I mean,
it's gentle but powerful is also what I'm hearing you saying. It has a very delicate way of, but it's very fierce and powerful once when it's in the system. So it does in a very gentle manner, but again, very aggressive in its own way. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So I think that it's really, and it's the vehicles in which we use it that make it. So we don't want to, you go on, you see on the market right now, there's 10,000 milligrams in a bottle. Our bodies they need what they need. You don't need more vitamin C than what your body needs. You don't need more vitamin E. You don't need more CBD. We just need to understand how to absorb it properly, how to combine it with the right foods, and how to learn what our body needs and listen to our bodies. So I think that this is like any other nutrient out there, that we have to learn it, and we have to learn it specifically for our bodies. And the customers that you and I work with, we're constantly retuning and listening and reapproaching different methods in which we can get nutrients to their body, whether that's antioxidants or CBD or what's needed for that person
right
at the time. But
right.
Yeah, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, I understand it, and I certainly can relate to things that I've tried. Many things throughout many years I've tried, and to work with a natural system and do the least amount of not only harm, but hopefully enhance and hopefully heal in many ways. So not just doing one thing and it does only one job, which is why I love that you use coconut oil as one of your delivery systems for CBD, because it can do so many things. It can also do many jobs just like CBD can. So they're a great synergy, but also to find the right delivery systems into our body so that we respond well. And like anything, each person has to figure out for themselves by trying certain things out what really is working, and hopefully with someone who can explain to them what's going on, or if something doesn't feel quite right yet, to let them know that, well, that's actually normal. You got to wait another week, just give it another bit of time, be patient. Like this, it's a process. This is not going to slam. You're not going to have the same experience with something like this as you would if you're used to taking lots of pills. That you're not going to have the same experience as that because you're doing something different. So anyway, the coconut oil thing though, I love because it's a great, coconut oil is one of the products that you make where you infuse it with the CBD, and it's such a great delivery system, and it has so many functions, and it's already by itself, coconut oil. I love going off on about coconut oil because it has already so many purposes that I jotted down this list of a brainstorm of all the things I could think of that coconut oil does. And even if using yours with the CBD, it could help with so many things. Treatment of your scalp, you have scalp issues, or if you have, it's great for brain function. Our brains are mostly fat. So when you bring in healthy fats, like coconut oil with the medium chain triglycerides, you enhance whatever the delivery system, like that's the delivery system, you're enhancing brain function. And it's great for hormonal balance because of the way that it helps with cortisol levels. And you can blend it with coffee, which people know, at this point people know about what a bulletproof coffee kind of thing is, or blending your coffee with a healthy fat it changes the structure there. There's a synergy happening right there. So there's so many different ways that just coconut oil alone can be used as a healthy fat, and why it can help. And again, I could read off this list of like 50 things I thought of that you could add coconut oil to your smoothies or your coffee, or you put it on your scalp. But you have found that through using it with the CBD, it's a great delivery system. I put your coconut oil with the CBD in my tea or in my coffee or in my smoothies, and it's worked so well. It was such a nice marriage of really like choosing something of such high quality and such potential. It has so much potential to do so many jobs, and then you put it you marry it with CBD, and it's like the best delivery system available with a fat like that. It's it's brilliant.
Yeah. So for sure. So this is it. This is the coconut oil. And it's exactly what you just said. So those lipids, fats, are more bioavailable when you use an MCT, a medium chain triglyceride. So the biggest thing we can do, and how you and I work together, I think, and where I think the food industry has gotten it so wrong, is that without combining other foods and other things, we're not going to get enough absorption.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is about absorption in our body.
Yes.
So if our body wants it, which it wants cannabis, I just have to say this because it's one of my favorite things that I've in the last couple months have heard. I was doing a panel discussion with somebody, and they said, isn't it interesting how, for the last, 100 years, or probably more in testing, the last 30 years, cannabis has been seen as a negative, and it stayed the longest in your system for a drug test.
Oh.
Ironically, your body wants it more than anything else you're putting in your body. So it's going to hold it and store it and use it. And that's why
it holds it, is because it's using it.
That's right. So how funny that, like, it's just a perspective issue, right?
Everything is a perspective issue.
Right?
Everything is. Yeah.
For all these years it was bad, and now we realize, no, that's a good thing that it wants to stay in there. But what's good about using coconut oil being like just this kind of miracle MCT anyway, is when you put the CBD in there, you get at least 10 to 20% more absorption of the CBD.
Because it's a fat, because the way the fat delivers into the body. That is exactly right. Yes.
Right. So now you don't need to use quite so much CBD, or you don't need to spend money on a $100 bottle of CBD if you combine it with the right absorption vehicle. And yes, an MCT and a tincture is great. And I do a ginger tincture that I really love.
It's wonderful.
But thank you. But that, when you drop it sublingually under your tongue, it kind of hits your bloodstream right away and can dissipate pretty quickly. But think about the difference of maybe swallowing mouthwash and gargling with mouthwash.
What kind of mouthwash?
That's kind of how a tincture versus using coconut oil would be. Like, it would come, neither one, aren't great, but I'm just trying to give you that you would absorb it in your mouth and you would feel it and have that. And then when you hit your stomach, you'd feel it in your stomach totally differently than you would feel it in your mouth.
Right.
So what I try to get people to do is think about, we are what we eat. So if you really want to use cannabis, you need to eat with it. Mm-hmm. You need to figure out a way that it goes into your intestines.
And that's where I get into talking to people about gut health, because I work with people on gut health all the time. And it's some people call it the second brain, and then others actually think of it as the first brain. And the way that the gut communicates with our brain is a whole other recording that we do, but around that communication.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing it into your body and bringing the coconut oil and the CBD into your large and small intestine, where it can read the information and use it along with your hormones, your immune system, most of it's located in your gut. People don't even know that. They think it's in their head. It's in their gut. It's in their colon. So all of those things are going on. And so then it's reading the information from the CBD and the coconut oil and using it together in that part of your body. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, gut for CBD, gut retuning and is huge perspective for me. Initiative for me.
Me too. Massive.
So that's why the oils are so important to me, the olive oil and the coconut oils, and figuring out ways we can put it into our food, whether that's, like you said, like a smoothie, or using ginger, fresh ginger with, a teaspoon in hot water, because hot water is so great for also aligning, warm water lining your system. But but this exactly does do that. So if you have issues with digestive issues or constipation, if you can release any sort of bacterias, so cannabis is an antifungal and an antibacterial.
And so is coconut oil. So
Properties.
both of them, it's double trouble. They're like, let's
Even
go.
and you clean your gut out, and and then you replenish it, because remember we just said the CBD is going to hold. So as soon as you can go with the coconut oil and all of the CBD and clean out that gut, clean it, the antibacterial, antifungal,
Antiviral.
with the anti-inflammatory, that the properties that it has in there, and the rebuilding of the tissues, you get all of this goodness that comes on the second wave.
Yeah.
So you get the first wave. So if I ask people to do a 7-day challenge,
Uh-huh.
I want a 2-week challenge, but if you could just use a teaspoon a day for 7 days to watch, sort of like
Of the coconut oil. When you say teaspoon, you mean of the coconut oil that has a CBD already in it. Yep.
right? And you can put it in tea, or you can put it in a smoothie, or you can spoon it in, or whatever. And then
you can just eat it plain too. You can just eat it.
It's fine. It's great. You can do. My son, my 14-year-old son, for 14 days did a coconut pull.
Yeah, yeah, oil pull where you swish it in your mouth for 20 minutes.
And so it's great. Coconut's great to do anyway, and it whitens your teeth. But with the CBD being an anti-inflammatory, it helps all his gums.
Yeah,
and it's an antifungal, antibacterial. So I'm just a huge proponent of using coconut oil or olive oil with your CBD, and not down to stripping it to, even though I love my ginger tincture and the MCT, but when it can be more coagulated and a little bit more visceral, that's when I find that it's, and then to try to figure out foods like that you can, Jessica, recommend to add to it for whatever issue you're dealing with. If you're dealing with cancer and you're going through chemo and you're deficient in vitamin D, and you're deficient in iron, what are things we can add to that? Sorry. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right, Mikey.
So there's other even for people that don't have something like cancer, although we all have cancer cells in our bodies, everybody does. So you may as well do these things preventatively, and may as well do these things preventatively anyway, because they're going to help in the long run. But yeah, what are the things that can enhance by marrying the compounds, and by, again, the synergy thing? I just like it, then that whole thing about things working synergistically and what that means. So yeah, there's lots of things that I could say add in, make it your, stir in some ginger and turmeric and some herbs and some good salt and some fermented foods, and you stir it into your coconut oil and put it on a piece of toast. You could, there's so many, you could get really creative, and I can get creative with each person depending on what their tastes are, what's going to be appealing to them, what's going to fit into their lifestyle and their patterns and their habits, and then to help them create new patterns and habits, incorporating something like this that's going to actually give everything a boost. So to me, the coconut oil thing is like you're getting like a double, triple whammy boost, but in a gentle, strong, gentle, effective, impactful way with one tool that has all these. So, and even if, even if for whatever reason you weren't able to get it internally every single day for some weird reason, whatever that is, even if you were to use it on your scalp or on the cuticles of your fingers or on the heels of your cracked feet, you're going to get some absorption because your skin is your largest organ. And so even if it means using it in those ways, it would be something versus nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. I obviously it's like what is it, like that hot sauce? Like I use that shit on everything.
Wait, Mike, did you ever see My Big Fat Greek Wedding? He's the dad thinks that Windex is like the cure-all for everything. So you could just call
the coconut oil is that. Yeah. So, but so my customers have used it from digestive issues to flared sciatica, and I've got all of their medication, and this is what they use. And so I can't say enough. Obviously it's changed my life. And I think in the next, in the months that is, that we present the products both in, I think you will start to show different ways you can add it to different foods. And
Yeah.
different recipes and how
Oh
to.
yeah. I think you're sharing coming up if anyone wants to. Yeah, there are some recipes that I've already included it into, and there's more to come. So
Yeah, there's a newsletter
yeah.
coming out with your first recipe on it, and then on my website we'll have your recipes. But I think I think maybe what you and I will do more is talk about if it's a digestive issue, how to combine your medicine with my medicine,
Yeah.
and to be able to offer that for
Yeah.
whether that's psoriasis or
Anxiety,
or
insomnia.
Crohn's disease.
Yeah, but by the way, any of those things, no matter what, we'll come back to some digestive healing that needs to happen. So whatever you're mentioning, they all have a digestive component. So that's where a lot of my work is. It's where it's just going that the gut is the house of so much.
Yeah.
And it's the center of our body. So we have to bring things in there that are going to impact the greater whole. So you're bringing something in that impacts the greater whole. You have fantastic, not just products, but so much heart and soul behind what you've created that I just love you so much. And I think what you're doing is a real gift to the world. And that if anyone has questions or wants to reach you, what's a good way for them to do so?
Well, my website is jennysbakedathome.com. So www.jennysbakedathome, jennysbakedathome.com.
And I'll include that link.
Okay, cool. And then you can reach out to me, Jenny, at jennysbakedathome.com. Send me, or on Instagram, it's @bakedathome.co.
Yeah, and your Instagram thing is a great thing to follow because you have all these lovely stories about people who have had tremendous benefit from incorporating the coconut oil and all your other products that have such, have great results. So it's lovely to have been able to read some of those.
I call them my cannabis pinup girls.
So
follow them. They are amazing women.
They're great. Yeah. Likewise, a lot of people I have the pleasure of working with are using these things and finding some great benefit over when they're staying consistent. Anything that you do, you got to be consistent with because you really will see results. If you want results, be consistent. That's like the number one thing is like really being consistent. Anyway, lots more that we can share, lots more that we have to offer together and that we can do. We'll be doing more of these to share information and hopefully you'll learn some things. And thank you for sharing all of that. And people know where to find you. And if you want to find me, you all know it's jessicaruthshepard.com. And Instagram's @JessieSheps, although I don't have as many. You've got a fun, what's it called? Just some really nice, like I said, the stories is really compelling. Yeah.
Thanks,
yeah, sharing it. Anyway, thank you for our time together.
You so much.
Yeah. Mwah.